Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to another.
To
Excellent
another
hosting.
lover.
Good
Wow.
work.
Wasn't that a song?
15 seconds
Another
in.
lover?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to another.
Fantastic heckling as well from Mike. Boo!
I'm just doing it before anyone else, comments, because we always get so many comments and emails
coming around saying, "What the fuck? You can't even say
I
episode."
like Callum, but he can't even say welcome. And he steals Mike's ideas.
Oh, still hurts.
Ooh.
For all this time.
Last week.
Last month's episode. It's been a while. The wounds, it's scabbed, but it's still a little. It's a little sore. There's maybe an infection there.
You shouldn't have.
That always happens around Mike.
You shouldn't have taken your plaster off to try and get air to it. I told you not to, but you don't listen. Unless I'm pitching something, and then you listen real good,
I've
don't
learned
you?
is that I can't trust you. So why would I take your medical advice? So heckling me today is the voluptuous Mr. Michael Wallace.
That's not a way to get around calling me fat. That's just you're just straight up calling me fat. That's fine. Just fucking call me the chubby.
I was going to go with I was trying to think of
fine,
another
whatever.
V word and then just ran out, so it just ended up sounding like all I could think of.
You're lucky we're not against each other today. That's all I'm saying. Jesus. Hello.
I mean, in life,
Hello,
we're always
internet.
against each other.
Yeah, like physically with our penises, but not like diametrically opposed.
It's called frotting, ladies and gents. Look it up. Not at work, though.
We give people so much stuff to look up. Last week it was op-high. This week, frotting.
So this is why we need the secret Patreon, so you can get the show notes for just $2.
$2 a month.
And for $5, I actually introduced Ben. Mr. Fee, how are you and all your many little ones?
I'm just waiting for the money to come in first. Until I see that in my account, I'm not going to be.
Ding, ding, ding.
I want that $5.
Bing, $5. Hello and welcome to the $5 exclusive Patreon.
You get
version
me.
Of Pitch, Please. Without any of the awkward long pauses. If you think that last season there was any episodes at all, Jurassic Park, where there were like long absences without Ben, that's just because you haven't signed up to the exclusive Patreon. That's all it is. It's definitely
we literally just directly cut his audio out.
Yeah, it's definitely not an editing
him,
snafu. It was. It's your fault.
I was going to say there's actually a fourth member of the team that you only hear if you've paid $10 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
So any long pauses, that's when he's talking, or she. Who we don't know. Who could it be?
Or they. Maybe they don't identify by your, standard gender.
All right,
norms.
Callum,
Who
wind
are you
it
to
in.
judge? You won't even pay $10 to our secret Patreon.
Anyway, why are we here today? What are we doing?
Callum, please tell us what we're here.
So,
give me a reason.
Somehow 3 seasons in, or have just stumbled upon us, this is Pitch Please, the show in which we, as a collective, either compete or, as is the case today, collaborate to pitch on a hypothetical comic, book, video game, mostly TV and film. And today we are going to be working together to bring a brand new, fresh instalment to a much beloved franchise. He's known as Mr. James Bond.
Oh, do you know what we should do? There's 3 of us, right? We could do the ending of James Bond themes because there's 3 of us. So we can do the harmony. That was perfect. Absolutely.
We didn't practice that. That was
no
off the
editing
cuff.
will be needed. That was. I won't even need to pitch shift any of that. That was on the money. We all knew exactly what pitch we were going to do.
What it
That's
sounds
why
like.
we call Pitch Please, because we know.
Yeah.
So, Mike, in the pre-show, which you can get for just $5 on Patreon, you were telling us all about...
For just $27 a month, you can come round one of our houses and watch us. I'll be honest, me in my pants and a t-shirt like a pro wrestler, sitting at my fucking TV with a glass of mead, pitching. in a dark room while my dog looks on disparagingly. It's the only time of the day he looks disparaging. Normally he's full of love and hope and glory, but now he just looks at me like,
that
Daddy,
he just gets
what are you
more
doing?
disappointed every time we record an episode.
Yeah.
It's just like, what
You notice
are
I haven't had to
doing?
reprimand him. It's because he's given up.
It's just, I see what you do with your time now. I see what you are.
This is what you do, you fucking loser. And I lick my own arsehole. I think you're a loser. I'm like, fair enough, Dave. That's fair enough.
I mean, that's just athletic.
Sorry, Callum. You wanted you wanted something from me before I went off on
So
one.
you were telling us in depth about your great love for James Bond. and
No,
how you
no, I
had this
wasn't.
Wonderful idea.
I have an
how
idea.
to
No, I do have an idea about James Bond pitch that I think.
Revivify. this
Yeah,
franchise,
yeah.
which,
Well, I
let's
mean,
be
I
honest,
think
has been
it's-
flagging.
Yeah, well, I think it's already been revived via the comic format, because obviously, like, you know, if Mike Orvis is going to pitch something, it's going to go, oh, well, actually, it was based on a comic that was in 2004. But yeah, there was a comic written by Warren Ellis. And I don't know when it was, and I've only read a couple of issues. But what I think was really fucking cool is it changed this idea of James Bond. It had James Bond as the James Bond we all know and some love, of like this, you know, he's Jack of the cock of the walk, Jack the lad, a bit of a misogynist, you know, bit of a man out of time, and they totally played on this. They were like, you know, you are a blunt instrument to which we send out to do these missions. That's why everything always explodes and everything's always violent and like you're just going shagging around. It's like spying isn't like that anymore. Now we use way more technology, but it's like they kit him up with the bare essentials of what they think he might need and then just send this blunt instrument out while they do all the real spying. And I thought that was really interesting.
It was
because it's
Eidolon, wasn't it? The comic series.
Sorry?
It was called Eidolon.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
the
it
comic
was.
series.
Yeah, you've definitely not Wikipediaing that.
No, I've read it. It's fantastic.
Oh, excellent, cool. Yeah, I've like I said, I've only read a couple of issues, but I'm a big fan of Warren Ellis and his work. The stuff he did on Punisher was fucking phenomenal. So yeah, I think personally, and you guys, please, like, shoot me down, and we can go in a completely different direction, and I'll add what I feel I can add. But I feel that, you know, James Bond is very much a product of his time, and although they've tried to shift away from that, it's still deeply entrenched in this sort of misogynistic 60s chauvinistic kind of.
Well, I mean, the scene with what's her face Inspector was, oh shit, what's her name? Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
Right, she was Inspector. The like the intensely rape overtones. She's respected actress. She's in that film for a very brief period of time.
Yeah.
But in it, he has the least consensual sort of sexual encounter with her I've seen in a film in a while. Like, it's so much, oh, I thought we were kind of over this. Like, the last couple of Daniel Craig films, there's still a bit of the, oh, he's James Bond, he's a bit cheeky or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was really like, oh, this feels weird to watch.
Like some of the newer Bonds that I saw, like when Judi Dench is like kind of telling them off for that sort of behaviour, I really liked that. You know, M being kind of the voice of reason and the anti what has come before. But I feel like we need to, you know, basically, this is going to sound mad, okay? So go with it. The premise I feel in my head is that it's like if Austin Powers was brought all the way to becoming James Bond. So you've got like this swinger from the 60s, this sort of mentality. Maybe you get someone who's a little bit older to play Bond, and he thinks he's, you know, still the suave sort of, you know, gentleman, but he's now I can't stop thinking about Austin Powers, and he's lost his mojo, but like he's kind of lost it, and he doesn't really understand why, and it's obviously we'd get fucking lambasted if we suggested this, because you'd get all the 50-year-old men fucking, I'm going to use the phrase gammon because that upsets people on Twitter, getting upset, being like, this isn't what James Bond is like, you're pushing your liberal agenda, rah, rah, rah. But I think it'd be quite nice to see him sort of come face long into a wall of 2018 and go, oh fuck, the stuff I do isn't acceptable anymore, and the way I am isn't acceptable anymore. And he learns kind of the more nuanced way of spying, and there is still this kind of thuggery to it, but maybe he gets beat by by a couple of kids on the street who've been learning MMA. It's like, everyone, and then they could be like, everyone knows karate now, mate. Fucking, what are you doing? Like, kind of thing. I realise I'm rambling now, so I'm going to shut up and let two more capable gentlemen finish where I've started.
Thank you very much. I feel as though this kind of genre is extremely flooded. You've got the real spy, like the John le Carre stuff that's coming out, like The Night Manager and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Fantastic shows and films about what spying is supposedly really like. It's gritty, it's boring for the most part. That's kind of covered, having real spies in the modern day. It's kind of been covered. Having James Bond, it's a fantasy. It's things exploding, it's over-the-top villains. It's morphed from when it first came out back in the 60s with Sean Connery. It's morphed from being a semi-serious, a bit of fun in there, but a bit of comedy in there.
Thunderball, Moonraker.
Exactly, and it's turned into a parody of a parody of a parody of itself.
Yeah.
Now it's trying to be relevant by putting this character in the modern day, but it's still borderline racist, rapey. James.
Well, it's trying to have its cake and eat it at the moment, isn't it? Where it's trying to be like a Bond who's closer to Bourne, but still there's all this like very much super villainy type characters, like you said, and like. Still, it's not full-on gadgets in the way Connery had them, but more than just what Bourne
it's
would have.
Fantastic. It's beyond what you think is possible. He's got fantastic gadgets. He meets beautiful women and like instantly has sex with them. He finds out the evil guy's plan through just pretty much just falling over it, and then he defeats him just by punching him in the face repeatedly. Yeah,
all the bad guys telling him while they're setting him up with some sort of death trap that definitely doesn't have like a lever across the room that he could pull to stop that thing from happening.
In order to make the stories relevant to today, the bad guys have had to become more and more complex and devious in their plans, using technology and the computer and the internet kind of thing. And now having James Bond thwart that, he has to be extremely lucky. It makes no sense that a guy with a PP7 can defeat a cyber criminal's massive empire. It's ridiculous. My suggestion, I can think of two ways that you could make Bond now. The first one... Muppets. Just Muppets everywhere. But one person, Michael Caine playing Bond. Like in Christmas Carol. Just everyone's up and he pretends
my name is James Bond.
He plays it off completely seriously.
He doesn't go Bond, James Bond. He just goes, my name is James Bond. I am a spy.
They're all messing around and he's there just completely seriously, like... as if it's like the most important gig of his life, really playing it off. What's that you say? Christmas Day? But no, that's a terrible accent from Michael Caine. Anyway, my idea would be reboot it from day one. Have it set just after World War II.
Ooh,
get it right back there. He's a spy from World War II, just like Fleming
Captain
was. America
has just beat Hitler.
Going to punch him in the face. No, just like in his story, as it kind of does in the books. The books. It mirrors Ian Fleming's life. He was in the army as a spy, and then when he leaves the army, he has to find work to do. And it's that world that I want to see. And it's racist. It's misogynistic. It's pretty awful for everybody. But I want to see something true like that. I want to see a period piece in which you have this man of his time fighting against debatable threats to the British Empire. So it's not a film that's saying this guy's a hero. It's not saying that the British Empire is amazing and needs to be defended at all costs by James Bond. It's saying here is what's going on in the world at the moment, and here is a a dubious man living in the grey areas who's willing to do what it takes.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and then you could have some real looks at the atrocities that the Empire committed after World War II. Like there's some. Now I'm going to get this wrong because I'm no historian at all. But there was we made a promise to the Jewish people of I think, again, I could be so wrong and I apologise, to Germany, that we were going to take a boat, like a couple of boatloads of them in. But when they actually turned up, we turned them away and just let them kind of float about in the water for a bit until
America did a lot of that.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like Britain. Doesn't sound like the kind of thing that the British would do.
But you know, Churchill committed genocides in Africa. Like, I hate to get heavy, but it should be known. You know, yes, he helped win a war, and yes, he beat Hitler. So yeah, he is the lesser of two evils. But he's still a fucking arsehole. Like, Churchill had some great quotable lines, but he was still a fucking arsehole. Like, the atrocities he committed in I think again, I could be wrong. I apologise. This isn't fucking Snopes. This is a movie podcast. But he did some awful shit in, I think, Gambia. But it was one of the African countries where he was responsible for the deaths of many African folks, and it all got kind of swept under the carpet. And there's like British archives that are about 15 miles long that try to hide all the shit that happened to the colonies. Where, like, this is real. This was on Radiolab. If you try to approach them, like, armed guards will come and be like, "Why are you here? What are you doing?" It's like public ground, but it's not really public ground. But anyway, I like the idea that, you know, maybe Bond finds out about this stuff when he becomes a spy. You know, he starts spying into the organisation that he's actually working for, and then maybe we could have some kind of retcon where they're like, yeah, we did all these terrible things, but we are going to, you know, make him some sort of devil's bargain where, like, you know, you can forget everything you saw and you can continue working for us. But you've got to continue to play the part of, you know, James Bond and who he is.
There you go. That's the film there. There's some big threat to the country. He goes and confronts it. He finds out that the threat is just retaliating to shit that the British Empire has pulled. Goes back home again to confront it and is told, either solve it or you're fired. And he solves it. He goes back and he says, you know what, I'm sorry, but I've got to kill you now.
Yeah.
Well, did you see? You know, the Judge Dredd film, the producer who
Ravi
did the
Shankar.
bootleg, Adi Shankar. You know, he did like the Power Rangers.
The child soldier thing.
He's got his bootleg universe. We did Power Rangers. He did Venom 1. He did a James Bond like animated one.
Really? Oh, did he?
And it's like Connery Bond, but it's like years after he's really old, and he's been retired, and it basically explores the idea that Bond, the longer he ends up in this world, the less it became about, like, I'm trying to serve my country, I'm trying to do the greater good, and it's this old man Bond basically taking, like, kind of vigilante, and I think he might even just take a job to do like an assassination, because as he's gone on, he's just become more like, well, no, actually, I'm just in this because of what it lets me do.
Yeah,
like he has something. He basically, the same way the rest of us have a driving license, he has
a
card or some shit that just says you can murder people.
Yeah,
like, you are. The British government has said it is absolutely fine for you to jet all over the world and shoot people, and we just approve of that. And I think that this would play into the idea of, like, maybe Bond's not such a good guy. Like, there is the devil's bargain, and maybe he starts out good.
No, he's never good. At no point are his actions ever good. He's quantifiably an evil man.
He's a product of the war. He's a product of what happened. You know, you'll have him go through war, and you'll, like, the first act will be, you know, the horrors of war, and sort of some of the shit he had to go through, and then, you know, you learn the kind of halfway through the first act, it's him trying to, you know, become accustomed to this spy life and getting trained and doing that stuff, because he got behind enemy lines one time and exposed a plot one time. So, which completely, like, we'll really heavily play on the fact that this was completely by luck, and he's just played along with it. So he's kind of got this imposter syndrome the entire time. Then he gets his license to kill, at the end of the second act, and then he goes to find out this conspiracy of why let's say Namibians, I could be completely wrong, it'd be historically accurate though, like why the Namibians are trying to fucking explode Parliament.
We'll Wikipedia it.
Why the Namibians are trying to redo Guy Fawkes or something fucking crazy like that. And he stops them and he finds out and he's like, what the fuck? So then he goes and he sees, it's not even M, it's M's boss, like whoever the fuck that is.
L.
Is it L?
No, I'm just alphabeting.
Oh, okay, cool.
Power of deduction.
Second only to fucking Churchill, whatever. And he confronts him and he's like, you're murderers, and you see this kind of shred of goodness in Bond, and you're like, oh fuck, he's doing the right thing. And give me 3 reasons why I shouldn't kill you right now. And he's like, it's treason. He's like, that's not what this card says, and it's it's his license to kill. And then he could do this whole this speech about what's right and stuff, and then they offer him that kind of Faustian bargain of like, you can forget everything you learned, you can become a tool of MI6, but you must play this part. Something that it would be nice to have, something that justifies in a retconny sort of way the actions of the way he is.
Maybe though, I'm wondering if the license to kill should be part of that bargain though.
Yeah, possibly.
That he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
That maybe for the large part of the film, he doesn't have that, and we maybe play more into the idea of him, not that he's a good guy, but that he is, like you say, he's a product.
Yeah, so you get like
the fact that,
sorry.
Maybe he got into the war for the right reasons. He had a bit of a rough tendency, but he was like, I'm going to go and do my duty. But he obviously ends up incredibly fucked up, and it gives him a chance to. He doesn't go straight into it going, I just want to be able to go on all these adventures. It's more starts off almost like a.
He wants to do anything that isn't being on the front line.
He's a sociopath. This is clear. He is a sociopath. It's a story about a man who is broken. Good men are boring. You want someone who's interesting. He needs to be, for the most part, broken and doing horrible things, but there is a glimmer in him. There's a glimmer of something else. He's still got a part of his soul left, and that's what makes him interesting. I like the idea of the gadgets. Keep the gadgets, but they aren't fantastical gadgets. They're just slightly better than what everyone else has in 1950 or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like he's got maybe something that we would see 10 years later. So to them, it's like, wow, this is amazing technology. But us, we're like, so he had it first, eh? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can't think off the top of my head. I don't know history that well, or the history of technology that well, to say, that was in the 60s that came out. But things like, when did the hovercraft come out? That must have been around that time.
But I mean, fuck it. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen did that kind of shit all the time.
Oh, yeah,
with Captain
absolutely.
Nemo. It was like, let's old up some of this. I mean, fucking Assassin's Creed had, I know we're going a bit off piste, but Assassin's Creed had with including Da Vinci, it was just like, we're going to have a tank and we're going to have a helicopter.
Yeah, that whole kind of anachronistic technology out of its time vibe. It can be full of that.
Mm. And here's what we do: we do what every fucking film franchise does. We either call it Bond or we call it 007.
I was going to say 007. That's exactly what I was thinking. And no theme tune.
Oh, like a cold open.
Cold fucking open. No Adele coming along. No Shirley
Oh fuck
Bassey.
yeah! And then what we do is we do a really minor driven theme at the end for the end credits.
Yeah.
Of who he is now. He has become Bond. But at what cost?
In the remake of Star Trek, where at the end they had the original theme tune at the end, and it was quite powerful because it was like, okay, it brings you back. Well, some people hated it, but in this they could have the original Bond theme, but played obviously a minor key, quite subdued at the end, as a little. He's Bond now. That's perfect. Yeah. That was the first idea that I thought would be good. The second
Okay.
one, I think, is quite famous. It's a theory that's been on the internet for a very long time, and it is
Okay.
that the Bonds retire and are replaced. The name
Yeah.
Bond is just a title given to
Just
a
code name.
spy. Exactly. So
Yeah.
Sean Connery's Bond, he retired,
Yeah.
and the next one became Bond. Roger Moore retired, and then oh no, the guy between them, George Lazenby.
Yeah.
He died really early on. He got killed. Oh
Yeah.
no, Lazenby left after his wife died, because in the film that he's in, which is called For Your Eyes Only. Nope.
No.
What's it called?
A View to a Kill? I could be completely
no.
wrong.
It's it might be For Your Eyes Only. But anyway, in that film, his wife dies at the end. He gets married,
Yeah.
and his wife dies. So that's him leaving. Roger Moore leaves. Tim Dalton
On Her
gets
Majesty's
killed.
Secret Service.
That's the one. Thanks Google. And
Google
and
Tinder.
all some of them die, some of them leave, and then you have this new one who's just started, the newest Bond. And have you ever read the Extraordinary Gentleman, The Black Dossier?
Yeah.
In that, you see James Bond. James Bond is a character in that. They call him Jimmy in that.
Yeah.
And when you go to MI6, I think it is, you see previous Bonds walking around. They've embraced, Alan Moore's embraced that idea. And you see, like, Sean Connery walking around. You see Roger Moore walking around.
I was
previous...
I was watching some really interesting stuff. Sorry to interrupt.
No. Crack on.
I was watching some really interesting stuff about Alan Moore, and sort of how he, like, the way he thinks, and his idea of, like, if you change your ideas, you change your imagination, then you can change the world. Like, you change the way you see the world, you can change kind of the physical realm. And if we all, as a one consciousness, as the world, if we all start to think a different thing, then we can make it reality. And it was really interesting. Like, he talks about the microcosm and the macrocosm, and he wrote a story series called, I think it's called Prometheus, but I could be wrong. Promethea, yeah, and they're 32. The 32 books, which is that's a prominent number in his way of magical thinking.
It's amazing.
Each one is like, apparently so. And then the last issue is like a macrocosm of all the smaller issues. So it talks about this idea of as above, so below. So you've got multiple realities, and I think maybe you could try and do. Let's not talk like different realities, because we don't want to blow the average film viewer's mind. But we're talking about, these kind of traits of Bond. We just look at, what they carry on from the last Bond. What the legacy is, and that's what you call it. You call it 007 Legacy or something.
It's a bit on the nose, but I like the concept. And
I mean,
I like the idea of the previous.
Think about
Bonds
who we're marketing
teaching.
this to.
Yeah,
people who like James
idiots.
Bond films still, unironically, in 2018.
But that'd be a fantastic idea, concept-wise, to get the whole misogyny out of the way, because each one has been taught by the previous Bond. Daniel Craig was taught by Pierce Brosnan, and it's like you can just grab a woman and pull her to you and have sex with her. It's cool, while getting completely shit-faced on the Majesty's dime.
Yeah.
And so this new guy's and Daniel Craig would be in it. He'd be the mentor. He'd be teaching this new kid.
Who's going to be the new Bond then? That's the big question. Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh no!
What's wrong with Daniel Radcliffe?
No, he's just not Bond.
No, I think he'd be good because he's not Bond.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not going for someone who is clearly Bond, why not just
God.
make another spy?
You have like all the folks that are like being earmarked to be the next Bond, and then you've got Radcliffe, who's a bit of like a, we've got him in because his parents were rich or something. He's really good at one thing, but that like a lot of the other stuff he's not so great at.
Well, he's a tech. He's a tech. I mean, today's spy battleground is cybercrime.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. So he's super good at that, and he's got his eye on becoming Q, because they don't know they're in the Bond selection process, the fucking 007 selection process, right? Yeah. And then something happens, and all the other guys fucking die, Like there's some horrific thing that happens, and
It could
he's
happen.
the only one left because he's managed to hack his way into a panic room at some mansion where the op, like, oh, you're going to go into a kill house and it's going to be really nice, and then something fucking horrendous goes down. Like Spectre get wind of what's going on, and they know the process, but they've kept quiet about it, and then they go in and it's real, and these prospective like Bonds get fucking murdered, but he's managed to hack his way into the panic room and send a message out using fucking tinfoil and like MacGyver his way into making comms, and then like an MI5 MI6 whatever kill team come in and they fuck everything up, and then they're like, well, I guess it's you then, and then you've got this real like opposition where Craig is like, this is how you become Bond, and he's like really old now, and then Daniel Craig's like, I'm not just going to grab a woman, that's weird, why would you do that?
One thing. All the other candidates for the Bonds in that kill house are the people on that list to play Bond. Idris Elba's in there. Tom Hiddleston's in there.
Oh no! Oh
yes,
fuck!
mate.
We could have had fucking Idris Elba. Of course, we could have had Idris Elba as Bond.
Tell you what, I would like to see Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
Shut your face. Shut your goddamn face.
You fucking love Aaron Taylor-Johnson. You've brought him up on this podcast a couple of times.
Every single episode.
No, but I don't want him as Bond. I want him as 008.
Oh yeah.
Trevelyan.
Let's get some more double O's involved.
Or not that he would be. Obviously, Trevelyan wouldn't.
Yeah,
be.
yeah. Can we keep Idris Elba, but as another 00 agent?
I always thought one of the most unexplored elements of Bond is that they go, he's 007, which largely doesn't mean anything, and then they actually introduce 008 in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Wait, what? There's fucking how many of them are there out there?
Maybe there's
Actually, why is Bond never
999 of them.
Actually, it's the 00 is the license to kill. The 00 agents are the license to kill agents.
Yeah.
So they only get that designation once.
Yeah, because you only get like because at some point he gets his 00 status. Isn't that in the reboot, like where Daniel Craig?
Yeah,
like,
I think they show it. At
he's
the
just
beginning.
07, and then he gets his 00 status.
It's in Casino Royale at the beginning. It's a black and white sequence where he kills some guy, and they go, "Oh, congratulations, you're now 00 agent." Oh, cheers. That's not exactly how it plays out. There's more. It's more dramatic. Than that.
They let out a fucking one of those party blows, like, like confetti
cheers, man.
and shit. Oh, well done. Bondi, 00, nice one. Here's your badge.
But yes,
we've got you a Colin the Caterpillar cake back at HQ. It's got 7 candles in it.
It's got like balloons in like 007, like birthday balloons.
Yeah, yeah. There's a present in one of them. Guess what you got to do to get it though? Yeah, that's right. Kill him.
Kill this man. Kill this
the first
terrorist.
one. Yeah, they've all got like the FBI's most wanted like balloons.
We've got you a present. It's
in one of them.
It's a criminal.
Really is a French fancy, but you've got to kill it to get inside. Anyway, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, we have that sequence, and Daniel Radcliffe's going to be like, "What?" Well, the last one liked it.
What would the actual? That's a good opening. It's like bang, bang, bang. They're all dead, and this one last guy's alive. He's a joke up until then. Everyone's laughing at him. Even afterwards, all the other double agents are like, "They've chosen you." Idris Elba's like, "Well, you're better than the last guy." It turns out all the other double agents, they hated James Bond because he's a misogynist. Because he's the worst spy ever. He goes and basically says, "Hello, I'm James Bond," and he does that because.
We'll get Idris Elba. We'll get like a cheeky Luther reference as well. So like, you know, some of them will talk about how they got there. Like he'll go out with 008 and 003, for example. Fucking make it up. We'll get a woman because we need more fucking positive female roles in this movie franchise. And so she's like, you know, I came over from Russia. You know, I switched sides because you guys have the better intelligence. And then he'll be like, I used to be a London street cop. And he'll be like, it's a Luther reference, because that would make me happy.
And then they temporarily just play the Luther.
Yeah, and then Cumberbatch swings by and he's like, I was a detective. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, but I would kind of be down for the Bond franchise just being like a super team up of all like British spies / detective.
So you've got Sherlock Holmes, Luther, and Bond, and then at the very end, you're like, they find the clue to get the thing, and then the last person, as he's dying, he just goes, "You're not ready for what's coming," and he's like, "Speak louder, man," and like punching him, like Bond's like punching him, and they're like trying to hold him back, and he just goes, "Bad wolf is coming," and then you hear, "Woo, woo, woo,"
and Tom Hiddleston shows up in the background and goes, "Guess I should drop the disguise then," and the full Loki outfit appears.
And the very last scene is he's in the office of the Ministry, and someone comes in and goes, "I'm from the Ministry of Magic. A good job for you."
Yeah, because Harry Potter's like at that time, like it's now canonically, it's now the time when Harry like dropped his kid off to fucking Hogwarts. So now
Hogwarts.
Harry is an augur, so that would totally work. Harry'd be like, "Yes, I'm from the Ministry." You'd be like,
It's played by the same. It's Daniel Radcliffe, played by the same character. I don't know.
Harry
Daniel
Potter.
Radcliffe turns up as Harry Potter, talking to Daniel Radcliffe as James Bond. Damn.
"Are you my brother?" "Yes, we were magic twins." All right, we've screwed the pooch.
James was my father's name.
Oh my god! Brilliant. Apologies for my terrible TARDIS noise, by the way. But yeah, like I like that. Going back, I like that idea that he's the tech geek, but like he's kind of the future that they need, and he gets shown the ropes from Idris Elba and.
Do you want a break?
and the
Do you want us to have
lady.
a little nap for a minute?
Yeah. No, we did that last week. Oh god. Oh dear. No. Inside jokes on a podcast. Love it. Yeah, cool. Okay, so those are kind of the two directions I think we could take Bond in. We could either do an origin story, or we could do like a let's swatch it up a little bit.
How do you feel about the thing that everyone is talking about? The direction that everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you went off for a little bit there, mate.
Oh, sorry.
I heard "How do you feel?" and then
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was scratching my microphone.
Sad all the time.
Just
if you must know.
tell me. Whoa! Stop the podcast. How's everyone doing? You all right? No. Sorry. How do you feel about the thing that everyone's talking about in regards to James Bond? When everyone says, "Oh, where should James Bond go next?" Everyone says it needs to be a woman. It needs to be a minority.
Yeah.
How would that work? How would
it's
you
a dog.
Wow, Callum.
Indiana Bones
Oh.
returns.
Indiana Bones.
It's his cousin. James.
Can I think of a pun that involves James Bond? James
Bone.
Bone. It's not good.
James Bone.
James Bone as a porn star. James Bone. But do you reckon that would work? I mean, it's obviously a touchy subject for three straight white males.
White men.
I mean, this is actually what I was thinking.
A couple of
is
gammon
that-
steaks. How would you...
Oh, we're not gammon.
We're not.
Come
We're
on.
far too pale for gammon.
Obviously, like we've brought up Idris Elba and how we want to see him in there, but I do think it is a bit of a thing where it's like I would be concerned. You don't want to put anyone into the role just because they look a certain way.
That's what it would feel like. I mean, my thing.
But
go on.
Also, are you then just going like, is it more problematic to go, oh well, we'll do Daniel Radcliffe, or we'll do like an older white guy for the like more wartime based one, and then we're like, well, it's just like, even if we're doing something different with the story, how much are we actually bringing a different Bond? Are we just changing their setting, but it's still just like the same hetero white dude?
It would be good if you brought... so keep James Bond as a hetero white dude. Bring in just an absolutely diversified cast and make them as headliners as the Bond character.
Well, I was thinking like...
They're the ones that teach him how to, we've been part of... What you do is you play it off like, we've been here the whole time. Like, you've been following the story of James Bond, the weird misogynist fucking like violent thug. We've been here the whole time. Like,
Oh, shit.
there's always been like a, you know, 0003, the original 002 was a black gentleman. The original,
Well, yeah, that's
you know,
what I was going to say. If we do have it where we're going like, no, it makes no sense that we don't see any of the 00s
Yeah.
aside from like Trevelyan
because they're really good at doing their fucking job. That's why.
I think if we do say we're going to take this from a view of it is still a fantasy.
Yeah.
Because I think like Bond always has to have.
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
That's kind of
It's a power
makes a Bond.
fantasy, but that power fantasy
Yeah.
doesn't just have to be for straight white men anymore.
But it can be that now the power fantasy involves the idea of like this super team of people go like, wouldn't it be cool to see like Bond going, okay, I've got a mission in X place, and it turns out that 009 has spent like 20 years or originally came from
and
there.
009 is
Like-
Helen Mirren.
So,
wouldn't
where's
I
the
take
place?
them on
Like
board?
Buckinghamshire or something?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It's Helen Mirren.
I just want Helen Mirren as it.
You
Yeah.
could call the film 00. Is that too
Yeah.
short?
No,
Yeah.
00. Yeah.
Damn. I'd watch shit
Bond
out
of brothers.
Bond of brothers.
Bond and friends.
the James Bond
part
Super
of-
Hour.
One of the ideas I always liked that was, you know, like the kind of fan theory was the idea that the explaining Bond changing faces, you know, obviously changing different actors, by having it acknowledged within the films that it is an actual different person,
Yeah.
and that James Bond is a name given to people who take up the 007 name.
Well, they
Yeah.
fucked that in Skyfall. They fucked that up because
Well,
it
yeah.
actually go back to his home, his birth home, or no, his parents' home before they died, and it's the Bond residence. And there's a gravestone
Yeah.
with like Steve Bond or whatever his dad was
yeah,
called.
they
Harry
destroyed that ever being thing, but like.
Well, I mean,
We
we could always play it off like the Daniel Craig films were the original Bond,
Yeah,
because a lot of
Or-
people feel like he's kind of unrefined and like
considering
a bit of
that the time seems to reset it. So
a, yeah,
that he is.
absolutely.
But you know, you could find a way to move around that. But I almost like the idea of that being our way of saying like, this is a brand new Bond. He's going to operate in a brand new way. Is partially by having it straight up just said in the film.
Yeah,
You know, either when he's given the role, saying it's like, your name, he completely gets his license, however, or whatever. And
Yeah.
he goes like, your name is now Bond. You are part of a long legacy.
Do you think we go so far and take this to its extreme, and old Daniel Craig Bond is the main villain because he sees, he tries training. He starts training Bond in the second act, and then the new 00s come in and they help to train him, and then Daniel Craig's like, this isn't how you were supposed to be.
What
This isn't
if-
who you are.
What if all the living James Bond actors
Yes.
are the villains?
Yes.
They're oh, but you have an issue that everyone thinks it's Spectre's just back.
Yeah, and they meet
Everyone's
at like a gentleman's club.
Yeah, they are
Right
cabal.
under MI5's nose, MI6 noses.
And they're like so unsuspected because they all were they were honourably discharged with like the highest respect.
Yeah.
All of them were like nicely retired, but all of them have that thing that's like, we can't just quit on this world.
Yeah.
Like this is all we have, and
Yeah.
they're just watching as like
an Illuminati.
This Bond starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Bond starts making friends, and he's like working with the other 00s, and they're like, no, you're meant to be like the best one. You're just meant to show them all, and you could maybe have it that they fucking like wiped out Spectre without MI6 knowing, and they've been running Spectre. They like put in their own layers of it to run as a front for their operations.
We need to avoid a very obvious scene that would just be cringeworthy, where the main character goes and sees them all around this big table and says, "Who are you?" And with one voice, they all go, "Bond, James Bond."
Yeah, no, because obviously what they say, Ben, is "Hail Hydra."
Hail Hydra! And out steps Red Skull.
Is it wrong that I would really want to see that?
Or Sean Connery. They all pull their face off and they're all Red Skull.
They're all Sean Connery.
Okay. We've gone too far.
Yeah, no, but backing up before we made it a
Yeah.
microphone.
What do you mean we? Sorry. God.
And then Iron Man turns up.
Too far, Mike.
Oh, I'm
Killed it.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. I'm a cunt.
Killed it. So yeah.
I think that's a pitchable film.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Of course, when it comes to pitching the sequel, 00, 2. Shit.
Double O Padda.
Triple O.
00, 000, License to Kill, God.
Triple O, male gigolo.
Right, okay. Well, that's it. Let us know in emails or comments or whatever, however you'd like, what version you would like to see. The kind of the war reboot or the Bond against everyone sort of thing, expanded universe view, via content at geek-pride.co.uk. I didn't say this in the last episode, but you could also rate and review us on iTunes. That really helps us become visible to people who can't see us. So that would be not the blind. We can't fix that because we haven't got the capacity. But if you do subscribe to the secret Patreon, maybe we can start working on a cure for blindness. What do you say, lads? I mean, I'm no expert, but I'll give anything a go when I'm pissed.
I was going to say, have they tried opening their eyes?
Have they tried taking off those really big sunglasses? Because when I wear big sunglasses, I know that I find it quite hard to see.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I don't know how that works, Callum. Are you suggesting we kill them? Because that's not on.
If you know,
Just temporarily, like like in the movies when you need to like trick a bomb that's attached to your heartbeat or something.
Yeah, yeah.
what's the film Flatliners?
Yeah.
Isn't that a
They
thing
remade
that a thing that Batman does in Arkham Origins when Bane's got a bomb strapped to him, and
Probably.
he kills Bane long enough for the bomb to be like, oh, he's dead, it's fine, and then like wakes him up with electric punches.
It sounds like something Batman would do.
Batman.
And that's how we end the Bond film. You've got him there, and he's like, he's looking at a nice London hotel. He's about to suit up. He's got his suit on. He's doing the cufflinks. He's got his gadget watch on and stuff. And he says, "I'll have a martini, stirred, not shaken." I don't know why you'd shake it. Like, we're breaking the what's the word I'm looking for?
You bruise the
tradition.
alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. So then he's like drinking it, and then there's just a shadow over him. It's like, I've got a team that you need to join. Da-na-na-na, and it's Batman.
With the animated Batman theme. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
animated.
they did that. They
Batman
did that
behind
in they did that in the Justice League movie. They did the Danny Elfman.
They had 5 seconds of the 89
Yeah, and it
Batman
made me
thing.
so hot. Anyway,
And then it was over, and I was so disappointed. So I was like,
and then it was just Aquaman.
I was
going,
angry.
boy.
Yeah, I was like, who do you think you are playing that music? You don't know him. You haven't stood in his shoes.
You don't know him like I know him.
You don't know me.
Anyway,
I am confident that Zack Snyder does not know Batman like I know Batman. Very confident.
Anyway, Callum, do you want to wrap this up?
Oh, I forgot I was doing that.
Yeah, you're the host, mate. I realised I started doing the end spiel and then was like, oh, actually, Callum is
That
running
was James Bond.
Yeah.
And this is Pitch Please. That was Ben.
Say the line, Callum.
And that was Mike.
Thanks,
And
Callum.
this is Pod Racing.
Yeah! We've also got Roll the Dice, though. So,
Oh yeah.
good effort,
Do
though.
that.
Good effort.
I'm handing over.
All right, right, we're going to roll the magic dice. I've rolled the magic dice. We are on... Oh, that's a large number. Oh, 18. Let's scroll down. An Old Republic series. No?
I could do that.
Yeah? Callum
Yeah.
Callum and Ben?
Unless you
Yeah.
particularly fancy it, Mike.
I can talk old Star Wars till the cows come home, but I'm not like massively au fait with the Old Republic. It would mean a lot of reading.
My
And,
two Star Wars podcasts, my two Star Wars pictures so far have been dog shit. So I'm willing to pull that back with a third Star Wars.
But I was
pitch.
going to say, all my Star Wars pitches have involved murder. Either suicide by lightsaber or murdering younglings by lightsaber. So I don't think I'm exactly the best guy. By the fucking way, we should mention, Kylo Ren totally does that to someone in Star Wars Episode 8. I was like, that's not my fucking idea. You remember when I said that Kylo Ren puts the lightsaber to his head and he turns it on like a gunshot?
Yeah.
He totally does that in the big fight with the Praetors. She
over his shoulder.
Yeah, she like throws her lightsaber at him and he goes boom, ching, and I was like, they listen. So if in fucking Episode 9 we get Q-wings, let me tell you, buddy, I'm going to be bloody annoyed.
So yeah, we've only got 3 listeners, but one of them's Rian Johnson.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what, if Ezra Miller turns up in Episode 9, that'll be
Oh my god. Esmerilla. That sounds like a nice dessert from the Mediterranean. I had a pancetta and esmerilla for dessert with a nice rosé. It was beautiful. The lobster was exquisite. Anyway, so next week Callum and Ben are going to do that. Do the line, Callum.
This is pod racing.
Beautiful. Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Secret Patreon.